6:30, 72 degrees on a Tuesday morning. Time temperature is brought to you by Farmers and Merchant Banks with branches all over the place. And happy birthday to Billy and Rhonda. Oh, excuse me. Billy and Rhonda Terry having an anniversary today. So happy anniversary there, kids. Now we can do some talking there, Mr. Russell Craig. How you doing this morning, buddy?
Man, I tell you, I only get up 2 reasons at 5:45 in the morning, Kenny, and that's to go fishing, and that's to be on your show.
Well, I'm glad the fish are not biting this morning. I'm glad you're joining us today. Hey, buddy, you seem to stay extremely busy with your career, playing either just by yourself or with a band. And let me tell you something, the band you had put together the other day, Chris Lilly and Charles Forbes and Pat Bailey, that's some good musicians to back you up, my friend.
Well, I couldn't agree more, and I think they've been playing together since Nixon was in office, so, I mean, you can't get a tighter band.
No, you're exactly right. But you're doing what you love, Russell. Do you write some too?
I do. We're kind of in the throes of putting another album together right now.
Oh, really? Now, where will you cut that? Where will you record that?
Right now, we've been looking at a place in Opelika called the Sound Wall.
Right.
Pretty nice place. Got a real country vibe to it. Mm-hmm. And just a great recording room. And we've kind of been hanging out over there quite a bit because, I've been back and forth from Auburn and Talladega.
Right. Well, that's where I want to stop right there. I want to talk about what you do in Talladega. And if you don't mind, explain your situation. You're not totally blind, are you?
That's correct. I have a eye condition, in case anybody doesn't know.
Right.
It's called RP for short, retinitis pigmentosa. It's a degenerative disease, and I was, I guess sarcastically, I was lucky enough to get the short end of the stick. Most people that have RP don't really start losing their sight till they're in middle age. So,
right.
40s and up.
Right.
I came out to shoot with low eyesight. If I took the visual acuity that I had when I was 4 years old, I would be on the verge of being able to drive a car. And so now I could still see some. I could see UKD.
Right.
I could still see Ryan, but I have a really hard time identifying faces. And quick movements, man, throw me off. If I'm looking at you and then you decide to dash across the room and get something to drink, I lost you.
Really? But you know what I've noticed, and I admire you the way you do this. You play off of that. When you're on stage, you're a great entertainer when you're behind that mic up there. I'm talking about, I was listening to you the other day, just in a sound check, you're an entertainer. Anybody that didn't do that in just a sound check, that's pretty doggone good.
Well, I appreciate that. First of all, I've been really working hard on improving interacting with the crowd,
right.
And just trying to show my personality on stage. I think, I guess for lack of better terminology, I was taking myself too seriously for a long time.
Yeah.
And, people just kept telling me, go up there and have fun.
Mm-hmm.
People don't know who you are, mm-hmm. and they don't know how much you like to laugh and joke around and smile. So go up there and act like you want to be here, but act like, we're just having a good time. And that's what I've been trying to do.
I don't know who gave you that advice, but it was some great advice. Is that part of a confidence building too, Russell?
Confidence goes a long way, and I've been doing this for a long time, man, but
right.
That doesn't mean I've always had confidence doing
right.
it.
Well, I guess I've always seen a confident Russell Craig. When you've done the Barnyard Jamboree, when you've been sitting out here on the front porch with me, I see a confident young man. You're easy to talk with, but when you open that mouth and start singing, that's where I see the confidence. And I enjoy it because you sing like Russell Craig sings, and to me that's a compliment.
That's the highest compliment a musician can get, and it took a long time for that to happen too. Doing a lot of covers in my act, sometimes you get in the habit of you wanting to sound just like that Brad Paisley record.
I know.
That old Hank Jr. record.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, it took some people telling me that too. You know, hey man, just do it your way, and people will like it. And if they don't, oh well. And going towards what you said about being on the barnyard and all that, I mean, it goes a long way when you have a good interviewer like you, who can just lob you easy questions, and it's just like we're having a conversation. You know, I mean, I almost forgot that we were live on air.
Well, and that's to me, that's what I want anybody I have a conversation with. That's all it is a conversation. Me and you talking right now. You know, when I ran into you, I didn't want to bother you the other day because I knew you were trying to get the sound check. But you know, you take your time and you're very polite, and you're a fine young man. Hey, let me ask you, talking about recording. Would these be covers? Would these be your songs, or what's your plan there?
These are all originals.
Oh.
We've already got 2 that I released last year.
Right.
But I'm wanting to come up with about 10 songs to put out, so we can have a full record.
You know, I think about you're a graduate of Auburn. You graduated, I guess, from CAC, right?
I did.
You went, because I remember seeing you out there a couple of years ago. Next thing I know, you're graduating from Auburn, and then this is your calling. Would you say? I'm gonna say you got 2 callings. One is to be a singer songwriter. 2 is to be helping with the blind in Talladega. And to me, that's a godsend, Russell.
Yeah, you know, I'm very fortunate to be where I am. I just love what AIDB stands for, and if it weren't for them, I wouldn't even be in the position I am today. I just can't thank them enough for seeing more in me than I did.
Right.
I went up there as a student back in 2014. I was just really low, and I didn't know what I was going to do, and I didn't have any skills. And it was because of them, they helped me develop those skills, and those skills gave me confidence. And it's just been a work in progress ever since then. And I'm so blessed that they saw enough in me to offer me a position there, and now I can help, hopefully, change somebody else's life for the better.
So you went up there 7 years as a student?
I was a student there from 2014 to 2016, yes, sir.
Tell me, you said when you went there, you were at a low in your life, just simply because you couldn't get around by yourself. When you say you were at a low, tell me, if you don't mind, maybe I don't mean to be getting too personal, but explain that to me.
No, not at all. I just, like I said, my friends had went off and went to school, and everybody was kind of doing their own thing, working, schooling. In some cases, the older friends I had raising a family, and like I said, when I was in high school, I got comfortable, letting people do things that I couldn't do myself.
Right.
And I didn't challenge myself. Like, you know what? I'm just gonna do that. Don't worry about it. I'll figure it out. And I just didn't do that, academically or in real life.
Right.
So when I went up there, when I say I didn't know how to do anything, like, only thing I knew how to do, Kenny, was wash clothes. That was really all I knew how to do as far as being an independent adult.
I don't mean to be laughing, but I'm laughing along with you on that.
Well, I know it. I didn't even know how to use a computer. When I say I didn't know what the internet was, and I'm a kid at this point, basically. I'm like one of the only kids in the world, this side of the equator that doesn't know how to use a computer. and in this day and age, that's like all you do is computers for work, play, anything.
And that surprises me. That surprises me, you telling me that. So you had to go to Talladega for 2 years to learn computer and other skills that you didn't know you could do because nobody pointed it out.
Well, yeah. I mean, the last time I used a computer was when I had, good enough vision to read print.
Right.
And so I used a magnification software called ZoomText. Some people may be familiar with.
Right.
and I used Internet Explorer, but Kenny, that was back in 2003. I mean, the internet isn't remotely close to what it was in 2003. And even then, I had a lot of guided help. Well, once they put me on YouTube, man, I learned 5,000 songs in like 3 months. I was so behind. I was like, oh, they don't know what they just did. Everybody's music.
Hey, I want you to hold on a second. We got to take a commercial break. We got a lot more to cover in a short time. Hold on there, Russell Craig.
10-4.
Hey, we'll be right back, folks. .645, John Kendricks. I saw your foot patting there a little bit. Pretty good fiddling music there. Good morning to you and Judy. Let's go back to the lines. Russell Craig, thanks for holding on, buddy. You know, when you were talking about YouTube literally changed your life then.
Yeah, I guess you could say that, and I don't know how many other people you could say that for.
Well, so all of a sudden, did that put a different look on life for you, so you could get out and do and learn?
It did, man. And another thing that was helpful up there is you had blind staff that worked there that helped you do just about everything. They taught you how to cook and do all kinds of things that I just didn't know, how well blind people could do before. And so seeing them do it added to the confidence. And then after the practice and the repetition, me figuring out how to do it, man, it was like you said, it was life-changing.
Walk us through it. So when you went in 2014, really knowing nothing but washing clothes, when you came out of there in 2016, what was Russell Craig, what could Russell Craig do?
I'll tell you, I could cook a good meal. I'm not just talking about pizza rolls in the oven. I'm talking about I can cook a healthy meal. I can cook stuff that I like to cook,
Right.
I can deep clean, which is really important to me because, everybody likes to clean house,
right,
clean bathroom and all that.
Right.
I could shop, which was a big deal, going shopping and going to customer service, telling them, hey, I got a shopping list. Can you help me pick out my stuff? Which takes a lot of confidence, too,
right,
to be able to walk in a place that you may not be familiar with and find help. Self-advocacy was probably the biggest thing that I learned how to do up there is just communicate with people.
Right.
Like, excuse me, my name's Russell Craig, and I'd just like your help. Can you help me, pick out these groceries? Can you help me deposit this check at the bank? Things like that. I learned how to, I guess you could say, immerse myself in the community. And I'm just like everybody else, and I'm here and ready to work and ready to do everything everybody else is doing.
Coming up, because you're still a young man, coming up, was there ever a time that you felt sorry for yourself?
There's a lot of emotions you deal with when you have a disability.
Right.
I kind of look at it as grieving.
Right.
There's, 7 stages of grief or 6 stages of grief?
Yes, sir.
I definitely went through all of those. You get to a point to where you're kind of apathetic. You're like, well, I don't care. You get to a point to where you're angry at everything and everybody. You get to a point to where you're low and, nobody wants to be my friend.
Yeah.
And eventually you do work out of that. And some people take longer than others. For me, and I tell all the students that I work with at Gentry, it took me 21 years to accept it. So if you're here and you just went blind, a month ago, you're 21 years ahead of me and trying to get your life back on track.
Wow. You know what you're telling me. You're a difference maker for so many folks. So you got to get up every morning and say, hey, I can make a difference today. I'm going to make a difference in somebody's life today because somebody made a difference for you.
Absolutely, and just the sad truth of it is a lot of people lose their sight later in life.
Right.
Not a large portion of people that are blind lose their sight, later in life. They're not born with anything.
Right.
A lot of it can be attributed to accidents and things like that.
Yes, sir.
And health conditions like diabetes. And when they come there, they don't consider themselves blind because they're like, well, I'm so-and-so. I've been wiring houses since I was 16 years old, and I can't do that anymore. And they're in the throes of that grieving stage. And, when I get to sit there, me and my case manager, because he's totally blind, and we can sit there, side by side, office to office, and go, well, hey, man, we got here. We're in good positions now, and we're well taken care of. And, look at me, I'm obviously well fed. We're doing all right. Do it too.
Russell, communication is huge for all of us, whether we can see or whether we can't see. But I would think that would be part of that building your confidence when you could communicate with folks. You just mentioned it a while ago, going into stores and dealing with people and depending on folks, but you also got to trust folks. So, you're talking about, I need some help in depositing this check. Well, you got to know that you can trust those people on the other side of you right there.
Well, you are correct. There's two things to look at there. Number one, I try, and I'm not perfect, and I'm not trying to say I am, but I try to represent people with disabilities the best I can when I am around, the community, because you only get one time to make a first impression.
Exactly.
So if I'm being led around like a dog, then they're gonna go, well, that's just he's just blind. You gotta lead him around. Or if I'm having everybody do everything for me in front of everybody, they're like, well, he's just blind. You got to do that stuff for people. So I have to confidently, in a way, sometimes just pretend like I know what I'm doing. And that way, people see that I'm trying and I'm putting forth a good effort. And that goes a long way in public perception. And as far as trust goes, you are correct. It's hard to trust people.
Right.
And I can tell you there's been times where I have not trusted people. A way that you can help yourself trust people is knowing what you are talking about. If I have somebody help me deposit a check, I got to know what's on that check.
Right.
And I have to be 100% sure that I know what's on that check, because there might be 1 out of 10,000 people that'll take advantage of you, but you might run into that one that day. So you got to know what you're talking about and be prepared.
Buddy, I could talk. We could have this conversation for a long time. Thank you so much for taking your time to be with us today. You are a difference maker in so many people's lives, and for that, I'm appreciated. But above all, I appreciate your friendship.
Well, same to you, Kenny. I really appreciate you having me on. I hope you guys have a blessed day, and I can't wait to come back on and talk with you.
Next time, we hope you can bring out a guitar and we'll do some picking and some grinning. How about that?
Some House of the Rising Sun. How about that?
You read my mind. My friend, have a great day.
Yes, sir. Y'all too.
See you, buddy. Russell Craig with us. Wow. We'll be right back.